Hi, so I'm going to be talking about genetically modified or GM foods. GM foods are produced from organisms that have had changes introduced into their DNA using the direct manipulation of an organism's genes to change the genetic makeup of the cells. This direct manipulation approach to genetic modification is called genetic engineering, which allows for greater control over traits. In the past, we've had to use things like selective breeding and mutation breeding to manipulate traits to be in our favor. An example of selective breeding would be like if there's a wide range of plant heights, but we like the tall ones, so we only let the tall ones breed. Eventually, all of the plants will be tall. An example of mutation breeding would be a grapefruit, which used to have very obviously present seeds, but then one grapefruit was born with a mutation that made it look like modern-day grapefruits, and we liked them, so we encouraged the mutated grapefruit to breed more and pass on its traits. So instead of those methods, we can now alter the DNA ourselves to produce the desired outcome, which is much more effective and efficient. The first market for GM foods was farmers, who generated a high demand for cash crops like canola, soybeans, cotton, and corn to no longer have traits that made them vulnerable to pathogens. So, in order to obtain these desired traits, we need to change an organism's DNA, which carries genetic information. Genetic information is related to genes, which determine an organism's characteristics. So, by changing the DNA, we can change the characteristics to produce the desired effect. We take a gene from one organism and then insert it into the DNA of another to form recombinant DNA, which will have the characteristics of both organisms. For example, we could take a glow-in-the-dark gene from a jellyfish and insert it into another organism's DNA. Then, theoretically, that organism's offspring would all have the ability to glow in the dark. So, the most important thing that we can do is educate ourselves on the subject and raise awareness about the potential impact that GM foods could have on the world. By integrating GM foods into our daily lives, we could combat poverty, reduce diseases, and improve nutrition. GM foods have higher yields, which will allow farmers to lower the prices for nutrient-rich food, allowing those in poverty to have increased access to healthier foods, easing the burden of poverty. GM foods also have a higher resistance to diseases and increased nutritional content, both of which will improve the welfare of humanity in so many ways. I hope that this comprehensive introduction to genetically modified foods has helped you. Thank you so much for watching.